This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, my email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. And we're heard Monday through Friday right here on the Starcom Radio Network, the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and, of course, X-Zone Broadcast Network. Our guest this hour is Ashley Garrison. She's been working in the paranormal field for 2 years, but it has always been a constant area of curiosity and somewhat obsession for her. Ashley has been running her group, Proof Positive Paranormal, for 1 year, and she is still an active member and volunteer with other paranormal groups in the area. Joining us now is Ashley Garrison. Ashley, welcome to the X-Zone.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, Ashley, what was it in your little life that caused you to have an obsession about the paranormal?
Actually, there was nothing that prompted me to be interested in it. I can just, as long as I could remember, I've always been interested in ghosts and watched the ghost shows, and I've just always wanted to be the ghost hunter, you know what I mean? So, yeah, there's nothing that prompted me, really.
Why did you want to be a ghost hunter?
Because that's kind of a hard question to answer. I wanted to be a ghost hunter because I wanted to understand what happens to you after you die in the non-religious sense.
Okay, so what have you discovered so far?
I've discovered that ghosts are very real. Very, very real.
And how did you discover that?
Through my investigations and the evidence that I've captured and the amount of evidence that I've captured in just the small amount of time that I've been investigating. I mean, I've captured some pretty amazing evidence, and, I've had, given my stuff to people to review that are experts in the field or with cameras and stuff, and they can't even explain half the stuff that we've caught in before. So it's and the more I catch, the more I want to do it, and the more questions that come up. So I think it's just going to be something that's never ending for me, really.
What's some of the evidence that you've gotten with your equipment?
I have caught full-bodied apparitions. I've caught EVPs that are very clear and audible. I mean, yeah. So most of it has been photo evidence and EVPs, I would have to say. It's a lot of digital evidence.
And where did you get your experience to become a ghost hunter?
Self-taught. I really didn't have any formal training. When I had first started, I started investigating with this one group, and I'm just the kind of person that kind of likes to do things my own way. So I still do hunt with the other groups in the area, but I just kind of like leading my own group because it gets done the way I want it to.
So are you a controlling person?
In the paranormal world, absolutely. When it comes to investigations, I am a one-track mind. I really don't focus on anything other than the investigation. And I can kind of seem overbearing, I guess.
All right, but let me ask you, where did you get the experience to call yourself an investigator? Like, investigators go to school. They take courses. They if you're a police investigator, you're taught, you learn, you study. So what did you do to become an investigator?
Like you said, I studied, just not in school. I don't have a degree. I don't have this fancy title. To me, I'm just kind of a blue-collar investigator or, ghost hunter, whatever you prefer to call it. I just basically taught myself. And, with the amount of success that I've had and, the things that I've came across, I think that's pretty good enough, because, who can really call themselves an expert in this field, because it's all kind of based in theory anyways, right?
I disagree with you there. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Ashley Garrison is my guest. She is the founder of Proof Positive Paranormal. Their website is Proof Positive. Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits, and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
This is Johanna Carroll, host of Dialogue with Divinity on the X Zone Broadcast Network. While walking along Kaanapali Beach in Maui this past year, I kept discovering all these shells and coral in the shape of hearts. My dialogue with Divinity was very simple. Do you want me to do a retreat to heal people's hearts in Maui next year? And of course, the answer was yes. As a master spiritual teacher, I am offering you a neat retreat called Rise, May 8th through the 12th, 2017, and the chance of a lifetime to rest at a 5-star resort for 5 days and experience a spiritual renewal of your heart and soul. Kaanapali is one of the top 5 beaches in the world. This stunning resort has undergone a $40 million renovation. I walked the entire property, checked out the room choices on your behalf, and I must say it is stunning. Our conference room faces the ocean with sliding glass doors. Maui is known as Mother Maui because it is a soft, gentle, healing energy. In the embrace of Mother Maui, you will feel yourself rising from the limitations of an ordinary life to an extraordinary journey of peace, bliss, and harmony, a greater sense of clarity. Our Rise retreat ignites renewal in the sacred elements of air, water, earth, fire, and wind. There's plenty of free time to enjoy all that Maui has to offer. A small deposit is required now to reserve your space, as this retreat, it will sell out. For more details, please go to johannacarroll.com and register today. Aloha, and I'll see you in mystical Maui.
Ashley Garrison is our guest. Her group is Proof Positive Paranormal Group NW.com. You know, before we went to the break, I said I disagreed with you because there are some people who are highly qualified, who have taken courses, courses, have doctorates. For example, the late Dr. Hans Holzer, one of the foremost authorities on paranormal research. Then you had Ed and Lorraine Warren. Once again, they had a very long and successful career. Lloyd Auerbach teaches courses in parapsychology. So, yeah, there are experts out there, in my opinion. So what makes you the expert that they are?
Well, I guess it would just be a self-experience, you know what I mean? Like, I've helped quite a few people with, hauntings in their homes and stuff like that, and I've kind of opened a few people's minds to the thought of it. Maybe I'm not an expert in the sense of education, but I'm an expert in the sense of maybe not the fieldness. I don't know. I guess I would just have to say it's all basically self-taught. It just came naturally to me, and it's something that I just have a knack for. I don't know. I really can't explain it, I guess.
So you're a self-proclaimed expert.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Tell me about your group, Proof Positive Paranormal. When did you guys get together? How many are there and in your group? And what is your goal?
Well, we first started when, about 2 years ago. It was me and my ex-husband who actually founded the group. It was right after I had said, I was hunting with another group, and I just really didn't like the style of the way that they did their investigations. It was sloppy in a sense. So I basically started my own group, and I recruited investigators, and some stayed, some don't. I understand this isn't a field for everybody. It is terrifying at some times, and sometimes nothing happens at all. So, you're sitting in a really cold place for hours on end. And so, yeah, it is really hard to keep investigators on the group. We have about 4 right now that are permanent. My mom is the one. She's the case manager. She kind of deals with the computer and the website and getting a hold of people and stuff like that, because like I said, I'm a one-track mind. I go for the investigations. I don't want to have to sit there and deal with the computer part of it, you know. So my ultimate goal in paranormal investigating would be, actually, it would have to be, I want to know, this is my personal driven goal, is I want to know how they hold their intelligence. Because ghosts, in my experiences, they remember you. They know you by name. They can tell you things about you, that they shouldn't know, and that's intelligent. They can remember who they were and things like that. So I want to know, without the body, without the brain, how does the intelligence carry over? That is my ultimate curiosity, because if we can still be that in death, then there is no such thing as it. It's just transformation from one form to another. It's pure energy in that sense. So how come some stay behind and how come some don't? Why do they stay? Why do they help? Or why? That's my ultimate goal. I want to know how they still think. That's my thing, is I don't understand it, and it drives me crazy.
So what do you think about Albert Einstein's theory when he said, we are all beings of light? Now, that would seem to be the statement that he is making, that there is a connection between the spirituality of a ghost, a spirit, that can actually be traced and proven scientifically. What do you have to say about that?
I would absolutely have to agree with that, because my theory, I guess, would be that our souls are nothing but white, pure energy, light. We are forms of energy in a sense, and when we're souls, they can imprint themselves onto recorders or cameras, and without you seeing them with your own two eyes, that's energy. That takes an amazing amount of energy. The equipment that we use detects them by fluctuations in energy. So I believe absolutely that Einstein was right about that.
A lot of people in the paranormal field like to use buzzwords and phrases like quantum physics. Now, can you give me your description or explanation of quantum physics as it relates to the investigation of the paranormal?
Quantum physics? The universe. That's all I really could. It's just energy. That's all I could really say about it is that we are all connected. Everything on this planet is connected by energy in a sense.
All right, but how does quantum physics work in conjunction with paranormal investigators? And what are you seeking when a paranormal investigator tries to establish a link between quantum physics and spirituality?
That's not something that I do, so I really couldn't put my 2 cents in on that. I don't really, I guess you could say, I'm not really like I said, I don't have the degree or anything like that, but the evidence that I've captured and stuff like that, I don't present evidence that I think is fake or I can recreate or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I go and I put my nose to the grind when it comes to evidence. I make sure that it's not fake or it's not something that anybody can misconstrue as being something other than what it is.
On your website, this is a quote. I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing here. Their organization claims that it is leading a profound transformation in the country. What profound transformation are you leading?
Well, yeah, I guess it would just be the acceptance of ghosts, because, in the last 10, 15 years, the paranormal has become more accepted than it has ever been. Because why? Well, because of TV shows and Hollywood and all that stuff. I'm trying to undo what Hollywood did.
But when it comes,
paranormal world.
But I'm looking at the statement, leading a profound transformation, and what you just described to me, what you're doing. 16,000 other groups in the United States are trying to do the same thing. So what is profound about what you're doing?
Well, because I think I guess the difference between other groups and my group is that I want to not only help the people that are being affected, but I want to educate the communities around me. I don't think a lot of the groups kind of focus on that, on really educating people on what these things are. Like, not every ghost experience is terrifying. And when you're a little child and you experienced a ghost in your house and you were so terrified, okay, well, was the ghost really trying to harm you, or was it just there? You have to be able to determine what is terrifying and what's not. I'm trying to basically open people's minds to the acceptance that it's not something that's crazy, because people are afraid to ask for help, and things like this. I think if the community was more aware of it, that if somebody was feeling something like this, they could feel safe going to a neighbor, because the neighbor's going to be like, okay, well, this is something that isn't going to be shunned upon, like how it has been the last, since we've been alive, since humans have been in existence. This ghosts have always been, taboo. And it's, if your house is haunted, you're crazy, or you're on medication or something like that. Well, I can sit here and say that it's not. You are not crazy, and it's not something that you are imagining. When somebody sits there and says, oh, it's just your imagination, I call BS, because you know what? I'm sure some of it is.
Okay,
I've met a lot of people in this field.
Slow down.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, you said you wanted to educate people about the paranormal, but how can you educate people about something that hasn't been established?
Well, I guess it would just be kind of the more being able to understand it. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily. Well, you guys, you're not helping. Sorry, I've got my other investigators telling me what to say, and it's getting me confused. So, my education would just basically be, okay, these things are spirits, okay, but, they're human, most of them. And they do respect you if you respect them too. It's something that I understand that it's scary and it's overwhelming when you're experiencing these things. But if you can really look at it in the logical sense of it, that these are people. These are not things that are, from some fairy tale or some made up story. These are people that we knew, or people that just need help or don't understand why they're here still. Like, if people could understand that, okay, well, if you ask for these things to happen, or you do something that can create a haunting, because a lot of people can create the hauntings in their house because of its acknowledging it. No house, I don't believe, is not visited by any kind of spirits, because they walk everywhere. They're everywhere. So I think if people were more aware to that they are everywhere, and they're not there to just necessarily hurt you, they bottom line want to communicate with you, then maybe it would be less scary. Maybe it wouldn't be some scary story that you would tell your kids so they'd be good at night, or it's not going to be some story that Hollywood's going to twist into be something that is bad. Because a lot of the stories that they tell are bad, and it's not all of my experiences have been bad. I've cried because of some of the experiences I had.
Sure,
you feel the pain and the.
But it sounds like you're describing a society that needs babysitting more than anything else. Like, if a person cannot fathom or acknowledge what they're watching on TV is fiction, if they go to a movie or see a production that was done in Hollywood on television, and if they can't understand that it is fiction, something's wrong with that person.
Unfortunately, I believe a lot of the society is like that. I've come across a lot of people who really don't comprehend anything about the paranormal. It's kind of like, you are teaching a 5-year-old about it. Like, I've had some of these stupidest questions ever asked to me before, you're like the Ghostbusters? It's like, seriously, like, they are connecting that with us, and that is not what we do. It's not, we're not out there trying to trap these things. We're out there trying to help these spirits, not only the living, but the dead, and I think if people were just not so dulled by TV and internet and all these different things, that maybe it wouldn't be what it is today. It wouldn't be something.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Ashley Garrison is our guest this hour. She is the founder of Proof Positive Paranormal. Ashley, what has been the most challenging investigation that you and your group have done to date?
I would have to be Northern State Hospital and Farm Grounds. I would have to honestly say, yeah, that place is a whole other. Yeah, it's a crazy place to go and investigate, to say the least.
Can you tell us about it and tell us about your investigation and what your findings were?
Yeah, the Northern State Hospital was an insane asylum back. I think it closed in about the 1970s is when they said it had closed. It has over 1,200 unmarked graves behind the gymnasium. It was where the very first frontal lobotomy was performed or perfected. I'm pretty sure it was just where the doctors had perfected the operation of the frontal lobotomy. It was a highly, decorated hospital, for humane care and all these things. And I mean, they were basically a self-sustained hospital. The patients built and actually ran the farm grounds and the stores, and they were able to, basically live real lives, up to a certain degree. And so when it had closed down, they put a few properties on it. So you really aren't allowed to go into the hospital, but you can go and investigate the farm grounds, and that is usually where we focus our investigations. And I've caught some pretty crazy evidence. I mean, even to myself, I have to convince myself, like, I think I'm crazy because the evidence that we capture is like, that's impossible. It's impossible that's there. It has to be something else. And I mean, we could never duplicate, or we could never recreate, and we can never make whatever shows up reappear ever, twice. I mean, I've caught a photo that I think is on my website. It appears to me and a few other people that 6 apparitions sitting on a bench where there is no bench. It's all tree line where that was at. And that was caught with a full spectrum camera. And I mean, it was captured in a concession of 4 separate pictures, captured in the same spot, just 1, 2, 3, 4, right after another. And that was the only photo that had shown up in. And so yeah, that was probably one of the best pieces of evidence to date until our last investigation that we did. And the last investigation that we did, we paired with the group that I hunt with, Bumps Paranormal here in Bellingham. And we all very loud, audibly heard a female scream. And I mean, this was so real that it scared all of us. I mean, we were all trying to find the person that did it, because it was just too perfect. It sounded too perfect to be real. Like, I mean, we were scouring these farm grounds, but there's no way that it could have been somebody messing with us, or let alone someone in our group, And I actually caught that on recording, and I have that recording. And I mean, all the evidence that pertains to the scream ties into each other, because about 4 minutes before the scream on an EVP, you hear a female say, "I just want to be heard." And then 4 minutes later, the scream happens. And I capture some weird mists in my camera, and you can hear me in the recording breathing like, "Oh, that's got to be my breath." And I'm like, no, because it doesn't look the same, like I'm trying to recreate it, and I'm standing by myself in the area, and you hear the scream, and it's between me and the other lead investigator at Bumps, and it was perfectly in between me and him. And I mean, I've never seen this guy so scared in my life. Like, I got excited when I saw him so scared, because it was, to me, that kind of validated it, because I do go in with some sort of skepticism. I don't believe when somebody comes up to me and is like, "Oh, I just saw a ghost run across the field." I'm like, okay, sure you did. Because you have to hold that sense of skepticism. So that was probably the best pieces of evidence that we've caught, other than we've caught in faces. I mean, we've captured dog faces. I mean, I've captured little children's voices. I've captured EVPs of singing and women, and they always say our names when we come back there. They go, "Hi, Ashley," or, I'm like, "Do you remember me?" And they say yes, and they follow us around, and they really don't want to answer direct questions. It's more like they just kind of join into the conversation. It's kind of strange how the evidence comes from there, because, like I said, I think I'm crazy half the time, because it's like the evidence is just almost mind-boggling. I don't know. I'll have no how to explain it other than that. That would probably be
I find it rather funny when the members of different organizations call it ghost hunting, because isn't what you do when you hunt something is you track it, then you kill it? How can you kill something that's already dead?
I can see it in that sense, but I guess I say ghost hunter because that is how it is best known as. That's how people are going to be like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. Because paranormal investigators are like, huh? Like I said, I've had some pretty stupid questions asked. Like, I've been talking to people about it who ask me questions or are very curious about it, and they're like, oh, well, they'd like talk to you in like English and stuff. And I'm like, well, what else would they talk to me in binary? You know, so it's like, I just say ghost hunter because
it's easy.
well, yeah, I guess we do track down ghosts. But I don't trap them and want to kill them. If anything, I want to try and help them. If I can't help them, maybe I can bring somebody who can, you know, like a psychic or medium, not necessarily saying that I've ever met one that I have convinced me that they're a real psychic or a medium, because there are some people out there who just kind of do it for the attention of it, you know, and I get that. You know, it's people these days, it's kind of hard to take people's stories as, you know,
serious.
100%.
Listen, ask me. There's a new Ghostbuster movie coming out, Ghost Hunter movie coming out with, what is it, 4 female Ghostbusters and a male secretary. How do you think that this is going to affect the established ghost hunting groups when Hollywood comes out with another spoof towards ghost hunters?
You know, in the sense that it's the new Ghostbusters movie. Like I said, people have asked me, oh, you're like the Ghostbusters, or you're like that show Supernatural. I'm like, no, I am not Dean Winchester. You know, like I said, Hollywood kind of, I don't want to like curse or anything, but they basically made it really hard for people like me, you know, because it's, like I said, people are afraid to talk about it. You know, they're like, oh, I just, you know, they tell me these really ridiculous stories to expect me to believe it, you know, because that's what Hollywood did, you know. Okay, well, ghosts are 99% of the time nothing like what it says in Hollywood, you know. So Hollywood did a number on us that's going to take a really long time for us to undo. And it's unfortunate, but, you know, like you said, babysitting in this country is kind of a thing these days, because people are unfortunately not that bright these days. It's a generation of smartphones and dumb people. So
that's being rather hard on the public, isn't it?
I mean, they're yes and no. You know, I get called crazy for what I do. You know, I'm not calling them crazy. I'm not calling them necessarily stupid. I'm just saying that people just like to believe the first thing that comes along. You know what I mean? Like, somebody posts a video on YouTube of a guy running across a room in a sheet, and he, you know, does some fancy digitizing work to it, and people try to pass it off as real. When I go to present a piece of evidence, it's called fake, or I'm called a liar, or, you know, something like that. And that really does kind of irritate me, because I'm not doing this for attention. You know, I don't go out of my way to people's houses and spend my own money on my own equipment to go out and fake my own evidence. Like, that would just be redundant, you know. So, I mean, there are some groups out there that have done that before, you know, and I've heard about it, you know, but not that I've ever met them. I've heard about it, you know, but I've been called crazy, so why can't I call them, you know, small-minded for not being able to accept something that has been so widely.
But how can you say, wait a sec, hold on here. You've got dual standards, because you tell me before the news break that you want to go out and educate the people. Here you've got people.
I do.
Wait a second. No. Don't interrupt me.
Okay.
You want to go out and educate people, but when people come to you to dispute your claims, instead of educating them, you're getting ticked off at them.
No. I don't get mad at people. I absolutely take everybody's with a grain of salt.
Okay.
There absolutely has to. I love a good skeptic. Do not get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But what I mean is that I guess people, like I said, the ones that really have no idea what is really involved in ghosts and spirit world, like what it really is, you know, they're kind of just exactly, you know, they just want, I don't know, I can't really explain it. I guess I want to educate people. When someone comes up and says, well, that looks like smoke or something like that, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what was going on when the picture was taking place. Either they can take that with a, you know, to heart or not. Not everybody's going to believe me, and I absolutely accept that, you know, because I'm not going to believe every other ghost or a paranormal investigator out there necessarily with their evidence either, unless I believe that they're credible. Not saying that my group is completely credible. I'm not that well known yet. Hopefully one day I will be with the evidence that I present and the people that I hopefully one day help.
Do you realize what you just said? You said,
well, I just
you said my group is not credible. You just shot yourself in the foot.
I didn't mean credible. I meant that we're not like well known in the community, like how, like the ghost adventures, they're like to build our credibility. You have to build credibility, right? So in the 2 years that I've been investigating, the evidence that I have and the clients that I have, they've always been happy with what I've done. So, I mean, my credibility, my known, being known will be more known as my time goes on, just like how TAPS did. And, any other really well-known group out there, it's not like they just started one day and were completely accepted 100%. That takes time. You have to be able to know, people have to know that they can trust what you are presenting. And when I present something, I know for a fact that what I'm presenting, I, to myself, consider to be paranormal.
But
whether they do or not, it's completely up to them.
But do you realize what you said and how it has been interpreted by listeners around the world when you said my group is not credible?
Yeah, well, I can understand that because I said it, but I meant it in the sense of I need to build credibility with the community.
You have to slow down, think about what you're going to say before you say it, because I'm telling you, I know these people, I know my listeners, you've shot yourself in the foot. So,
and that's fine.
So let's go back.
Let's
go back and try and explain what you meant. And do it slowly because you're talking fast. So explain to us what you meant.
What I meant was that for how long I've been investigating, I just need to build up credibility with the community and with people who are going to come to me. Because when somebody calls a paranormal group or investigators, they are wanting answers. They're not going to want to call somebody who's not going to know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So with the clients that I've had and the evidence that I present and the backers that I have, even with the small amount of time that I do have, I think that in time, yes, my group will be very, very credible, as in the sense of, you're going to be able to trust anything that I present. I understand, like, if I were to start my group, like I said, the first day I started my group and presented the evidence, I had, 10 followers, and then I had people disputing my evidence, and that's fine. And like I said, I would try to explain the conditions of the investigation, and if they believed it or not, that's up to them. Because there's always going to be somebody that's going to dispute evidence. Absolutely. And that's what drives me to get better evidence next time. To be able to prove it even better next time, to hone in my investigation skills, to be like, this piece of evidence was questioned.
It's all right.
And so now
if the evidence is going to be the same from one location to the next, it's not the evidence that needs to be better presented. It's not the evidence that's at fault. It's the presentation of the evidence. How it is presented is how it is perceived by the different people as to whether or not it's credible or not. The evidence stays the same. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because we've had some evidence on our website that is a video that no expert can explain, and that we've not been able to find one other group who's even ever experienced something like that. So yes, I am in a sense experiencing new evidence that I can't even explain myself. So when I present it, I'm presenting it as paranormal in the sense of not of ghosts, but something that I just can't explain. You know what I mean? Because it's something that nobody can explain. And I still watch this video in just complete awe, and I'm just, what is it? What could it be? It's not a glitch. It's not, it's not a laser pointer. It's nothing. It's no light because there's no light source. It's just something that completely steps out of the black void, and it is static on a video, and it's shaped as a person, and it comes towards the video, you know what I mean, or the camera. and no expert can explain it. They said, we don't know because it's not a glitch. It's impossible to glitch like that. So when I have something that is impossible and I present it, other people are going to be like, okay, yeah, that's obviously fake because nobody has ever seen it.
Or you haven't found somebody who can identify it yet.
That's, I guess, but I mean, if I'm giving my evidence over to experts in that field and they haven't seen it, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe there is one person out there who has. Maybe one day I'll find them and they can explain to me, because I would love to meet that person and shake their hand if they could explain that to me, you know, because I just would like to know myself, you know.
Have you brought the video to video experts, or are you just keeping it within the paranormal community?
No,
have you gone outside?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. We have seeked.
I have a call back for 866 negative K, nothing further, just
In over 36 years in law enforcement, I've learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, extraterrestrials, and UFOs, how we gather that evidence of their existence, preserve that same evidence, and present it to a court of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Come with me on a journey that seeks to prove with undisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Join me, Larry Lawson, host of the Paranormal Stakeout, coming to the X Zone Broadcast Network. Check out the broadcast schedule for Paranormal Stakeout with yours truly, Larry Lawson, at www.xzbn.net. For more information about me, my travels, and my team, check out our website at www.paranormalfbi.com or join us on Facebook at Florida Bureau of Paranormal.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Ashley Garrison is our guest. She is the founder of Proof Positive Paranormal, and their website is proofpositiveparanormalgroupnw.com. Ashley, tell me about the members of your team. How many are there, and what are their functions?
Like I said before, my mom is the case manager, I guess you would say. She's been on a few investigations. She's kind of likes the computer side of it. Mm-hmm. I've got a few other investigators that are just that, investigators. I've got a few new people that I'm just trying to train, and they're quite young, so I kind of like that because they haven't really been influenced by any other groups or anything like that, so I can kind of train them the way that I want to. It's hard to really keep investigators because most likely the weather around here, because in the winter we don't really hunt that much, so it's kind of just in the summer that we do it, you know, and everybody works and it's hard just to keep schedules. But the investigators that I do have, I trust very much, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I trust their opinions, and I don't think that they're, you know, over exaggerating in things, because that's just one of the things I can't stand, is somebody who just can see something in everything. So
you said that you don't investigate, or you do few investigations in the winter because of the weather?
Yeah, I mean, because it just gets so cold. Like, we do obviously go in the winter, but it's hard to get the people that stay for the amount of time that I like to go for. I like to go for 4 or 5 hours, and it's below, 30 degrees, and you're standing in concrete buildings and just standing there for hours at a time. It gets really cold, and I mean, yeah, it's tiring, and you feel really drained the next couple of days. And when you work full time, I get that it's hard. It's definitely hard to get everybody all on the same schedule. You know what I mean? So it's in the winter we try to do less just because of the weather, the rain here. I mean, you can't really investigate a lot outside, or just because rain, you're going to get just contamination, and it's just too hard to hunt a lot around here because this is Northwest Washington, and we're rain. We don't tan, we rest.
All right. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Ashley. Take care of yourself. And X Zone Nation, Ashley Garrison has been our guest this hour. Proof Positive Paranormal Group. .gw. I'm sorry, NW. That's Proof Positive Paranormal Group, NW.com. I've never heard anyone say that their group is incredible before. Freudian slip. I have to read, let me see, where did you put it, Craig? All right, let me see. This is what they have on their website. Their organization claims that it is leading a profound transformation in the country. Their commitment to stand firm in their actions, which they believe will provide results and positive changes in their community. To achieve this, and this is a quote, we have a team of leaders and visionaries who every day make possible the transformation they want, except in the winter when it's too cold. They also claim to have a very well-structured volunteer program which welcomes people of all ages, sexes, vocational, and educational levels who wish to be linked to the social impact actions they take as part of the core activities of the organization. You be the judge. My jury's already in. That's it for tonight, Exonation. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock as once again we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And as I always say, if you can help somebody out, please do. We are brothers keepers. And always, always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light.